Hello there. I'm Tigster2005 of the Prequel Gang, and welcome to another episode of Tigster Talks, the show where I talk about stuff by myself. Well, uh, sorry about the Spider-Man Far From Home video. That should have come out back in January, but Kenny and I both have school. Well, we had school, because summer vacation now. Great. And we were both just too lazy to edit. And then, as it turns out, Kenny's monitor broke, so he can't even use his computer right now. So this is kind of a thing. But as it turns out, Black Widow has been released finally, and I watched it. But before I get into that, there has been some stuff that came out between the releases of Far From Home and Black Widow. In like this year, we had some TV shows on Disney Plus, which I watched. There's WandaVision, which was a very good show. It takes place after Endgame. It revolved around the character Wanda and Vision, obviously. So and it was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to spoil it here. Then there was also the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I was very excited for because I saw some compilations of like interviews with the actors who played in that TV show, Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie, because they were both in like other movies like Captain America: Civil War, but like now they're here together, and like in those interviews they were like so funny, and there was actually a reference to something they said in one of those interviews in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm not going to say what it was. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was pretty good. The show was pretty good. Um, yeah, it was all right. And now there's Loki, which I am watching. It's still not completed yet, but it's good. I like it so far. But now also, I rewatched some of the Marvel movies before watching Black Widow. I so I watched like from Iron Man to Civil War, except Guardians of the Galaxy and the Incredible Hulk. The reason I didn't watch The Incredible Hulk was, first of all, it's not on Disney Plus, and second of all, like it's not even canon at this point. Let's be honest. And Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, here's the thing. Here's the story with that. So I was actually watching these movies. Like I was like procrastinating a lot, as I do. But then my brother, my 10-year-old brother, started watching these movies on Disney Plus, and I was like, you know what? Let's watch some of these together. So like I was up to the Avengers at that point. He like caught up really quickly. He watched Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America: The First Avenger, the Avengers, boom. But I also watched Captain Marvel. I watched them in chronological order, so I started with Captain America, and then I watched Captain Marvel, and then all that. But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy. So here's the thing: we had like uh, the way we had it planned. We wanted to get up to Civil War as quickly as possible because Black Widow actually takes place right after Civil War. So that's what we did. And since Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't have anything to do with anything until Infinity War, we decided to skip it for now. We'll come back to it. And this has been an experience. Like some of these movies, I did change my opinion on some of them. Like the Avengers. I'm sorry to say, it's not an S tier movie anymore. It's a good movie, but it's not. It's really not as good as I remember. However, Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Captain America: Civil War, and even like First Avenger, much better than I remembered them being. Like Winter Soldier, like there wasn't as much shaky cam as I remembered. Although maybe I watched those on my PC, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't know. I guess like even the plot, like I thought it was much easier to follow. Like maybe it's because I watched them on my PC and not the TV this time, but I just didn't notice as much shaky cam. I did notice a little bit of like uh the frame rate being a little bit too low for some of these action sequences, but like that's not a huge deal. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today, I'm here to talk about the movie I watched today in theaters. So this is my first time watching a Marvel movie in theaters, Black Widow. So, it was a movie. Uh, okay, so it takes place after Civil War, and we have Natasha. It actually starts off with a sequence that takes place in 1995, where Natasha's still like a child, and she gets taken on a plane to like the training facility where she eventually becomes who she is. Uh, it's a thing, I guess. Okay, so Um, what can I say? Right off the bat, I didn't enjoy this movie very much. I'm sorry. I really wanted to enjoy it. I really did. And I did enjoy certain aspects of it, but overall I feel like it just kind of fell flat for me. Now, I'm going to try to explain why, but this is a very new movie. It came out like 2 days ago. So, spoiler warning. Major spoilers for this whole thing. So, where to start with this one? Well, basically, Natasha goes and she finds her sister, Yelena, who is a person who. Hold on. What was even the plot of this movie? Hold on. Okay. So, they go and they need to find the Red Room, where that's like this training facility for all of these people. That's like a place where Black Widow was trained, and they're like, I don't even know. It's like I feel like the this movie's plot it's a little bit confusing to summarize because a lot of things happen, but not all of it is really important. Like there's a lot of like family dynamic stuff with Natasha and her sister and her like adopted parents or something. That's what they were, right? They yeah, no. That yeah. um but a lot of it was just like some of it felt like I felt like they kind of expected us to like either immediately catch on to everything or have previous knowledge about this, which we can't have previous knowledge about this because this is the first time they're introduced. And then there's the villain character of the movie. I forgot what their name was, but they were a character. His and then like uh, something about Black Widow and Hawkeye in Budapest. They mentioned it briefly in Avengers, but now like instead of making a movie about that, which probably would have been a better movie than this, they decided to just like talk about oh yeah they did some stuff in Budapest, right? They like they killed someone's daughter, and now this stuff is happening. And again, this movie was just kind of like all over the place sometimes. Like there was just bit, places where it just felt like a whole bunch of nothing was happening, like just conversations between Natasha and Yelena and their parents, which like I don't care about these characters. I didn't have the they didn't have the development that they really needed to really stick out. And also, this movie feels like it's a sequel to a movie that doesn't exist. Like I feel like some of these events should have been covered in a previous movie, but they weren't. So now I'm just left here, just kind of getting bored because like the all this stuff is happening, but I don't care about any of it because it wasn't developed enough. It should have been like, here's the thing. Instead of like going from the beginning, just trying to develop these characters, they're like starting us off like they made it take place after Captain America Civil War, which like I mean that could have worked if they had a previous movie to like back everything up to like have some backstory. Like, you know, the when I heard that there was going to be a Black Widow movie, my first thought was like, "Oh, this is going to be like a huge prequel. Like maybe we're going to see how Black Widow and Hawkeye became friends before, and like how they went to Budapest and whatever, and how, you know, they're like you see them in the Avengers and they're like friends, you know. You see them in Age of Ultron, they're friends. In Captain America Civil War, yeah, they were fighting each other for a bit, but then Natasha still goes, yeah, we're still no, not Natasha. Barton Hawkeye goes like, we're still friends, right? And like, you know, they it was a thing, and I wanted to see the movie where they actually met, where, you know, they became friends. Like I feel like that would have been a more interesting movie because these are characters that we already know. These are characters that we already like. We've seen them in countless movies, including Endgame, which I'm not going to spoil what happens in Endgame in this video, but stuff happens in Endgame with these two. But but in this movie, no, we get undisclosed the sister that was undisclosed until now just came out of nowhere. These adopted parents that again came out of nowhere. This villain character, which I like. Who is this? It's like they expect us to know who he is. Like they expect us to know that like Black Widow and Hawkeye, they went and like did something with him on their mission in Budapest, but I guess not. We're not supposed. I guess they wanted to leave us in suspense for that one. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. I'm sorry, but I mean, I feel like what I'm probably gonna remember most about this movie is I'm probably not gonna watch it again for a long time because I didn't enjoy it that much. I feel like even like Captain Marvel, I rewatched Captain Marvel. It was so boring, but I feel like that movie could at the very least kind of stand on its own. Black Widow can't stand on its own because you kind of have to know who this character is. You gotta watch Captain America: Civil War because they talk about the stuff that happened there, and also Age of Ultron. Uh, so like because they mention those events, right? At least with Captain Marvel, you can go in blind and you can still pretty much see what's going on, even if what exactly is going on isn't really interesting, especially on the repeat watch. I hope that maybe I'll rewatch this movie sometime and gain a higher appreciation of it, kind of like I did with Winter Soldier and Civil War. But like, yeah, the first impression of this movie was like, uh, I don't know. I feel like they made this simply because people have wanted a Black Widow movie for so long, and they just never made it. But because of certain undisclosed things, they had to make it a prequel. So they did, and instead of making it like an actual prequel, like what I just mentioned, they made it take place after Captain America: Civil War. They introduced these characters that I really don't care about. Like, and it doesn't, like, the plot just does not give a lot of time for Black Widow to actually, kick ass and all that. Like, the reason why she became, like, such a massive, what's the word I'm looking for? A very popular character was, like, partially because, like, ever since Iron Man 2, she could always, like, she could be, like, in a room full of people trying to attack her. She could be, like, boom, boom, boom. Like, I'm exaggerating, but, like, she could beat them all. Like even going all the way back to Iron Man 2. And in the Avengers, she didn't have like all these sorts of powers, but she kicked ass in her own ways. Martial arts, guns. It was fun. It was fun to watch this character. But now, in this movie all about her, there's really not much of that. There's a little bit of it, sure, but that's like not enough. Not enough for an actual Black Widow movie. Uh, and then what else? What else can I even say at this point? Oh yeah. So, so one thing that I'm pretty sure I didn't mention in my video about the Avengers was that scene where Black Widow was being interrogated and they were speaking Russian, and it was so funny because it sounded so fake. Like, especially listen, Scarlett Johansson plays Natasha very well, but dude, that like when she tries to speak Russian, it just like it sounds so fake. It does not sound convincing at all. And for those who don't know, I actually do speak Russian. My family is from Russia, so like I know what it's supposed to sound like. This is not even close. And there are a couple of moments where some characters speak Russian in Black Widow, and it's pretty funny because like it sounds so fake. Like, and they're trying to take it seriously. Like, honestly, I can't even tell if they're doing it for humor or if they're actually trying to do it seriously. Because like in the Avengers, I feel like they were doing it like they knew it was funny. Like that whole movie, like they tried to do a lot of comedic stuff in that movie. It wasn't as funny the second time around as the first time. Like the whole movie, it wasn't as much of a comedy as I thought. But that scene, it was still really funny. In Black Widow, I feel like I'm pretty sure they might they're probably trying to make us take it seriously, but like I can't. because every time she tries to say something in Russian, it's a comedy. It's a comedy. That's what it is. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the real kicker here. In the beginning of the movie, where she's like a child, she's like what 8, 10 years old, and she actually says some stuff in Russian, and it sounds fine. It actually sounds real. Like it's like sounds like she is living in the United States in a Russian family. Like that's what it sounds like. But then she grew up. She became Scarlett Johansson, and suddenly, suddenly it's a comedy now. Except it's not a comedy because the movie is really boring. Um, okay. I gotta calm down. So, yeah, needless to say, I didn't think this movie was that good. This movie was not necessary. I feel like, you know, uh, Black Widow she was in Infinity War, she was in Endgame, and this movie was definitely not necessary for either of these. And on its own, it just doesn't really stand on its own, and it doesn't really stand that well in the context, in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, there was the after credit scene where Yelena is at her grave because stuff happened, and this might mean that she might be coming back in future movies. I don't know. I don't really care until I'm given a good reason to care about this character. I am just like, okay, whatever. This was a movie. It's not a horrible movie, but it was very disappointing. But this is also like I'm coming off of watching Captain America: Civil War, which, as I said, like it's much better than I remembered. I think this might be like one of the best ones. And also, for the record, Thor: The Dark World is still awesome. I love that movie. Just saying, because a lot of people don't like it. I'm still saying Thor: The Dark World is like up there. But yeah, I guess now I'm gonna watch the rest of the MCU, finish watching Loki when it finishes, and then I guess I'll watch whatever comes next. I think it's like the Eternals or something, and then Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I'm really excited for. But yeah, Black Widow was a disappointment. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the bell, turn on notifications, and keep having the high ground. Bye.